Hello, thank you for coming to my video. If you would like to help my channel grow, please like and subscribe, and please click on this little bell icon so you never miss a future video. Hey guys, welcome back. GameStop has kind of been in the news a lot lately. A lot of people talk about GameStop, and I kind of want to give my take on it. They look like they've been in some pretty good trouble lately. This holiday season in 2018, they reported about a $500 million loss. I mean, that's $500 million this holiday season. That's a lot of freaking money. The last 2 years, their stock value has plummeted. I mean, it used to be around the $50 a share mark, and now it's like 12, and it's still dropping. If you would ask me about 4 or 5 months ago if GameStop was in serious trouble, I probably would have said that they would find a way to survive just because of how they've positioned themselves in the last 10, 20 years, especially with Toys R Us closing and the way that GameStop has branched out in terms of merchandising. They could have really set themselves up to really absorb that clientele the way that GameStop is branching out in terms of like toys and things like that. However, now that I look at their loss and kind of analyze it a little better, I don't think that so much anymore. I think they're probably in some pretty good trouble, and I want to talk about why I think that is and how they may be able to fix it if it's not too late. And first off, I want to get this out of the way. I'm not going to talk so much about how GameStop rips you off. You know, like it's a sales company. That's what they do. I'm not going to talk about how like their odd number penny pricing, or how they try to get you to buy used games over new games, or product placement, encouraging suggestive selling, pre-orders, all that stuff. Big freaking deal. They're a sales company. That's how they make their money. So I'm not going to go on too much about that. One of the things I am going to go over, the first thing is just their overall customer service. So yes, they are a sales company. Yes, they're based around making money. I mean, that's what every business is. But they have too many rude people that work there, and too many unintelligent people, or people who are just overall too pushy, and it encourages people to just not shop there. I mean, the average person walks into GameStop and they're like, do you want to pre-order this? You want to pre-order this? They try to push so much stuff on them, which, you know, that's part of the job. When I worked at Game Crazy many years ago, before Game Crazy went bankrupt, I worked there for about 6 months. That was my job, and I had no problem doing it. But there's also a point where you need to back away a little bit, because you don't want to piss off your customer. Because if you're to compare a sales job like GameStop or Game Crazy to being a car salesman, of course, you want to be pushy because you want to make a $20,000 sale, and you don't care if you piss off that customer, because you're not going to see that customer for like 5 years. So, but a place like GameStop, you know, you want that customer to come back the next day, so you don't want to piss them off till they're not going to come back anymore. So yeah, you got to know when to back off a little bit. And not every worker there is like that. They got a lot of great workers at a lot of locations. Like the one that's closest to my apartment, they got a lot of really cool, really nice people there. And I like shopping at that place. But the GameStop at my hometown, for example, the store manager, extremely rude, and I won't shop there whenever I'm going to my hometown visiting parents or anything like that. And unfortunately, even though there might not be a whole lot of rude people that work there, there's just enough to where it goes viral and a lot of people talk about it. So they need to do a better job hiring people that are friendlier, getting rid of people that just suck, and just do a better job with training their people to be friendlier and being better salespeople. Another thing I want to talk about is how they basically piss off the core gaming audience. And there's a lot of factors that are kind of in this. Selling new games that are on display that are already open, because, you know, if a game's open, it's not new. I don't care if it's been played or not. It's open. It's not new. I mean, there's a reason. There's a reason why people, you know, don't want to buy new games there anymore, despite digital sales and things like that, which we'll get into a little bit. But As a video game collector, who also buys them and plays them, I don't want to buy games there knowing that GameStop also throws away a lot of game cases to like DS games, 3DS games, or whatnot to save space. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of these GameStop dumpster diving videos have become so popular because, you can just dive in and grab like a bunch of cases and sell those on eBay or whatnot. Here's the thing that pisses me off about GameStop the most. Telling someone that if you pre-order a thing through them, you get exclusive access to something when it's not true. Perfect example, the GameStop in my hometown, rude store manager. I was pre-ordering Halo Master Chief Collection there back in the day, and right after I pre-ordered it and paid for him, he goes, "Oh, also you get the benefit of when you pre-order through us, you get access to the Halo 5 beta." And I went, "Well, wait a minute. Everyone who buys the game gets access to the Halo 5 beta, whether they pre-order it or not." And he just kind of stopped and looked at me and just kind of put his head down in shame. Crap like that at GameStop pisses me off. And if I owned a privately owned game store that competed with GameStop, I'd be talking to my lawyer after that. But another thing is, even though GameStop is a game store and gamers are their target audience, that's also not the majority of their customers. The majority of the customers are just, casual gamers or soccer moms or parents or whatnot, or, little kids that, say, "Mom, Dad, I want to go to the game store," and just things like that. And now that you have digital sales taking over, your casual audience is shopping elsewhere. And not just digital, but also online sales like Amazon. So a lot of the audience is shopping elsewhere, which your main target audience of gamers hate GameStop and don't want to shop there. Not only that, that core audience is also very vocal. I mean, look at me, I'm making a video on this, and there's lots of others like that. And eventually that word gets to those soccer moms and gets to that casual audience to where they don't want to shop there. They're just it's like, I kind of heard too much about this GameStop place not being a good place. I think I'll go to Target instead, or Best Buy, or wherever. So yeah, I mean, GameStop, you got to fix those issues to where people actually respect you guys a little bit. And we touched up on it a little bit, but also digital sales. This one's kind of obvious, world's going digital. I don't like buying digital games. I like buying physical games. But again, I mean, people are buying less physical games, more digital games. And when people do buy physical games, they're not going to want to buy them at a place like GameStop where, they're rude or pushy, or their new games that they have in stock are opened and on the shelf. And I know I'm beating a dead horse with that one. And I understand that, you want your games on display and you don't want the games in the cases because you don't want to get them shoplifted. But at the same time, put them in a glass case or something. I mean, just about every other store, like your Targets or your Walmarts or whatnot, have them behind a glass case or something. So it's not that complicated. But another thing with the physical games is, you got companies like Limited Run Games, for example. I mean, they just became this major thing with selling limited physical games and showing that there's still a demand for physical games, even though it's going to shrink. The demand will still be there. I mean, look at vinyl records. Yeah, they're probably going to phase out optical drives in consoles and whatnot. Chances are, though, there's always going to be a USB port on a console, or an SD card slot on a console, or something. Some way to plug a physical game into the console so it can still play. Another reason GameStop's kind of in trouble is you look at internet sales like Amazon Prime. I mean, Amazon's a big competitor to pretty much anything nowadays. But you look at GameStop, and they could have built a very strong online presence early on. It's not like they don't have one. They certainly have a big website and a lot of inventory on there that you could buy. But almost every time that I try to buy something off of GameStop online, not so much a year and a half ago, but a lot more, like in the last year, I have a very hard time buying things from GameStop because the website always crashes every time I try to complete the order or just anything. I mean, I got to double check with my bank and make sure the sale didn't go through, even though it says it crashed, and or things like that. There's always a problem with it. I mean, they had that credit card data breach about a year and a half ago. I had to cancel my debit card and get it reissued, and with a different number and all that. So, I mean, GameStop, if they could just revamp their online presence, close a bunch of stores to kind of cut their overall business costs, they're going to have this huge inventory to sell stuff online to better compete with Amazon Prime. I'm not going to say they're going to put Amazon out of business or anything like that, but at least they can exist with them. So, but they got to fix that website. They got to do something. They got to make their pricing a little more competitive. If they could pull that off, and they always advertise on TV, so if they could pull that off and advertise something on there like, check out our new and improved website or something, then that would definitely help them out. And finally, they just got too many locations. Earlier this year, well, I forget it was earlier this year or late last year, where it was reported that they closed about 150 locations. I mean, you got GameStops that are literally across the street from each other or on the same block. They don't need to be that close. Sure, maybe 10 years ago when it was based on location and they did a good job establishing themselves at particular locations where people would go in and out of, like strip malls and stuff. Yeah, I mean, you look at the declining of malls in America, but being replaced with strip malls, and GameStop did a really good job adapting to that. However, they're not applying that logic and business sense to digital sales and internet sales and things like that. So they really got to close some of the locations to better cut some of their business costs so they can focus more on an online presence. I mean, yeah, you're going to want to keep some stores open because, physical sales aren't going away anytime soon, even though they are declining. But if you keep too many stores open, your cost of doing business is eventually going to be way higher than the money coming in, and you're going to go bankrupt. I mean, you're already seeing it with a $500 million loss. And just one more honorable mention, that this is more of a personal preference of mine. I don't know if anyone else feels this way. I know some people do, but I don't know if this is a common thing. But GameStop being open on Thanksgiving, which any store that stays open for the purpose of having a sale, I'm not talking about like a grocery store so people can buy food to feed their families or things like that, but like Walmart being opening early to get an early jump on Black Friday sales on Thanksgiving Day, or Target or GameStop's, I find that highly immoral, and I think more stores need to close that don't need to be open, because Thanksgiving is a holiday that should be spent with your family. And I have shopped a lot less at a lot of these stores that have remained open on Thanksgiving as a result. I can't morally shop at these stores anymore. I mean, sometimes I'll still do if it's more of a convenience thing, but I'll shop elsewhere. I'll spend a couple extra dollars and buy it at a smaller, locally owned place or something like that. But so yeah, those are my feelings on GameStop as a corporation. Maybe they'll come around. Maybe they'll wise up. Doesn't look like they are, but who knows? Let me know what you think down below. Thank you very much for watching as we head towards our 4,000 subscriber goal, and I will see you guys later.